The gavel struck with a hollow echo that seemed to fracture the silence, and Emma Carter felt her chest tighten as the words of the verdict landed like stones. The court was suffocating with the weight of finality, and Michael Harris whispered, "This is not justice, it's surrender." Liam Parker sat in the gallery, sketching shadows on paper, eyes darting between the accused and the accused. Judge. Daniel Reed adjusted his tie, unreadable yet steady, while Victoria Kane leaned back with a calculated calm, her expression carved from stone. Outside the courthouse, the storm rolled in, thunder grumbling like a warning, and Emma clutched a folded letter deep in her pocket, one she swore never to open. Then the phone in her bag rang, its shrill tone piercing the chaos. She froze. The call promised to unravel everything, and Sophie Carter's memory flickered in her mind like a ghost reaching out. Emma walked out into the storm, the courthouse doors closing behind her like prison gates, and Michael followed with quiet urgency. He said, "You cannot let this verdict define the truth." Her steps echoed across wet stone, each one weighted by guilt she never confessed. Liam stood under a street lamp, notebook tucked under his arm, eyes sharp with unspoken knowledge. Daniel exited last, adjusting his jacket, his gaze calm but unreadable. Victoria lingered in the doorway, a silhouette untouched by the rain, her voice low as she murmured into a phone. Emma pressed her palm against her pocket, where the folded letter burned like a secret. The storm raged, lightning carving the night sky, and Sophie's memory drifted back, her laughter faint, but piercing Emma's chest with grief. The rain drove them into a narrow alley where shadows seemed to stretch forever, and Emma whispered, "Someone wanted this outcome." Michael placed a steady hand on her shoulder, eyes firm yet filled with concern. Liam followed at a distance, pulling his hood tighter, his sketchbook peeking from his pocket. Daniel's figure appeared briefly at the alley's edge, a guardian or a threat, impossible to tell. Victoria passed by in a sleek car, her window rolling down just enough for her cold gaze to meet Emma's. The phone buzzed again, louder this time, its glow cutting through the storm, and Emma finally answered. A distorted voice said, "It was never about the verdict. It was about what you buried." The words froze her in place, the memory of Sophie's voice overlapping faintly, like a haunting echo. Emma's voice cracked as she asked, "How could they know?" Michael's jaw clenched, his calm demeanor unraveling as he said, "Because someone close to you told them." Liam stepped forward, defiance in his eyes, insisting, "I saw the files. Emma. They erased the truth." Daniel's tall frame emerged from the shadows, his calm tone masking intent as he said, "The truth has layers, and some are best hidden." Victoria's name whispered on the wind as her car disappeared into the storm. Answered too. Emma felt the letter burn in her pocket, its weight heavier than the thunder overhead. Sophie's ghostly laugh echoed faintly, reminding her that secrets, once buried, never stayed silent. The storm reached its height as Emma raised the phone to her ear again, her breath sharp and shallow. The distorted voice whispered, "If you want justice, follow the trail Sophie left." Her knees weakened, and Michael caught her arm, saying, "You don't have to do this alone," Liam muttered. "But she does, because no one else will." Daniel's gaze flicked briefly toward the horizon, unreadable, while Victoria's laughter echoed faintly through the rain as her car vanished into the night. Emma pressed the letter tighter to her chest, her eyes filled with both fear and resolve. Sophie's memory grew sharper, a phantom figure walking ahead of her in the rain, beckoning her toward the shadows where the conspiracy waited. The storm eased into a drizzle by morning, but the tension clung to Emma Carter like a second skin. She sat at a small cafe table, untouched coffee cooling in front of her, her eyes locked on the folded letter. Michael Harris joined her, his calm presence steadying the chaos within her. He said softly, "You've carried this weight too long, Emma. Let me help." She turned away. the reflection of Sophie Carter's face flickering faintly in the window. Liam Parker leaned against the glass outside, sketchbook in hand, capturing fragments of strangers who passed by. Daniel Reed entered quietly, offering no words, only a watchful gaze that felt heavier than silence. In the corner, Victoria Kane's presence lingered in whispers, her name circling like smoke. Emma finally spoke, her voice low and cracked. "It's not just a verdict. It's everything we lost." Michael leaned closer, his voice steady but edged with urgency as he said, "You are not alone in this." Emma's lips pressed tightly as she whispered, "But it feels like I am." Liam tapped his pencil on the glass, his restless energy seeping through. Daniel shifted in his seat, calm but unreadable, his presence both reassuring and unnerving. Victoria's name once again surfaced in Emma's thoughts, a phantom tether pulling at every unanswered question. The cafe buzzed faintly with the chatter of strangers, yet Emma felt isolated in a world of noise. Her trembling hand brushed the folded letter once more, its seal holding a truth she feared more than the conspiracy itself. Sophie's reflection in the window smiled faintly, a memory taunting her with what had been stolen. Liam finally entered, shaking droplets from his hoodie, his voice sharp with defiance. "You're wasting time," he said, dropping his sketchbook on the table. Michael bristled, but Emma raised her hand to silence him. She turned to Liam and asked, "What do you know?" His eyes narrowed, and he muttered, enough to know Sophie didn't just vanish. She was erased. The words pierced through Emma, her grip tightening on the letter until the paper bent. Daniel exhaled slowly, his calm tone breaking the silence. "Be careful, Liam. Some truths destroy more than they reveal." Emma's heart pounded, caught between Liam's fire and Daniel's restraint. For a moment, she almost heard Sophie's laugh again, echoing across the walls of the cafe. Emma's voice cracked as she asked, "Why didn't you tell me before?" Liam's hands clenched, his tone harsh. "Because no one believed me. They all thought I was just a kid chasing ghosts." Michael's gaze softened, but anger flickered behind his calm words. "You should have come to us." Daniel leaned forward, his tone steady. Sometimes silence is the safest weapon. Emma's breath trembled as her eyes flicked to the letter, then to Sophie's reflection still shimmering faintly in the glass. Outside, Victoria Kane walked past with her umbrella, her graceful stride commanding attention even in silence. Emma whispered, "Sophie's truth is buried in this, and I have to dig it out." The cafe lights flickered as thunder rolled in the distance, and the group sat in uneasy silence. Emma finally broke it, her voice fragile but determined. "We cannot undo what happened, but we can expose who made it happen." Michael leaned back, nodding with quiet resolve. Liam's restless eyes burned with conviction as he muttered, "Then let's burn their lies down." Daniel adjusted his seat, his stillness cloaked in ambiguity, while outside, Victoria's car pulled away, taillights fading into rain. The folded letter seemed heavier now, as though Sophie's hand pressed against it from the other side. Emma whispered to herself, "This isn't about justice anymore. This is about survival." Sophie's memory lingered in her ears, a soft hum that was both comfort and warning. The cafe became a cage of secrets, so Emma Carter led them to her apartment, a place stripped of warmth. The blinds were drawn tight, shadows crawling across walls. Michael Harris set files on the table, pages that spoke of missing evidence and altered testimonies. Emma whispered, "They knew Sophie's name would expose them." Liam Parker leaned forward, fire in his voice. "They wanted her gone because she had proof." Daniel Reed's silence stretched long. Then he said, "Careful. Evidence without power is nothing but paper." The folded letter burned in Emma's pocket, heavier than before. Rain tapped the windows like a metronome of dread. Sophie's voice haunted her, reminding her that truth always cut deeper than lies. Michael unfolded photographs, his tone sharp. This was swapped. Someone inside tampered with the chain of custody. Emma's stomach twisted, her voice barely a whisper. Victoria. Liam slammed his fist on the table, shouting, "She's pulling strings, and no one will stop her." Daniel's voice remained steady, though his words carried warning. "Accusing her without proof will bury you faster than she ever could." Emma's gaze lingered on the photographs, the grainy images now weapons she feared to wield. Sophie's memory rose like smoke, her humming faintly echoing through Emma's ears. Michael pressed the files forward and said, "Then we find proof she cannot erase." The storm outside grew louder, thunder swallowing their silence. Emma pulled the letter from her pocket, her fingers trembling as though it were alive. Liam leaned closer, eyes wide with hunger for truth. "What's inside could change everything," he said. Michael placed his hand over hers, steady but firm, whispering, "Don't open it yet. Timing will decide if this saves us or destroys us." Daniel's calm eyes locked onto Emma, unreadable in their depth. "Sometimes the most dangerous truth is the one unopened," he said quietly. Emma felt Sophie's ghost pressing against her shoulder, a phantom urging her forward. The storm flickered lightning across the room, shadows moving like restless conspirators. Emma whispered, "I cannot run from this anymore." The letter pulsed with unbearable weight. A sudden knock shattered the air, and all froze. Emma's breath hitched as shadows shifted under the doorframe. Michael whispered, "They know." Liam grabbed his sketchbook, pages trembling in his hands. Daniel stood, his tall frame steady, and said, "I'll answer." Emma felt panic surge. Sophie's memory whispering, "Don't trust everyone." The door creaked open, revealing no one but a small envelope on the floor. Victoria Kane's name was etched in precise handwriting. Emma bent slowly, fear shaking her every movement. Inside was a single photograph. Sophie, smiling, standing beside Victoria. Michael exhaled sharply, whispering, "This changes everything." Emma's heart fractured, doubt consuming her like wildfire. Emma stared at the photograph. Sophie's smile frozen beside Victoria Kane, a connection she had never imagined. Michael whispered, "She wasn't just part of this, she orchestrated it." Liam's voice cracked with rage. "She killed Sophie's truth to protect herself." Daniel's calm voice slid like ice. "Or maybe Sophie wasn't who you thought she was." Emma's hands trembled, the letter clutched tighter, her pulse racing with doubt. The storm raged louder, lightning splitting the sky, and shadows writhed across the room. Sophie's memory flickered brighter, her eyes haunting Emma with questions she could not answer. Emma whispered, "If Victoria touched Sophie's life, then none of us are safe." The conspiracy had grown teeth. The photograph lay between them like a blade, its edges sharper than glass. Emma Carter whispered. She knew Victoria. She was close to her. Michael Harris' jaw tightened, his calm breaking as he muttered, "Then Sophie was in danger long before we realized." Liam Parker's voice cracked, anger spilling out. "You mean she chose to stand beside her, or was she forced?" Daniel Reed's steady tone cut through. "Either way, the truth has been rewritten." Emma pressed the letter to her chest, her breath shallow as Sophie's memory flickered in her mind, her smile now laced with wild betrayal. Lightning illuminated the room, revealing shadows shifting like enemies just beyond sight. Emma whispered, "This wasn't about corruption. This was about Sophie." Michael spread the files wider, voice sharp. Victoria had access to every piece of evidence. She rewrote the case from the inside. Liam slammed his hand down, frustration boiling. And Sophie was the key. She knew too much. Emma's breath shuddered as she asked, "Then why keep her close?" Daniel leaned forward, his tone heavy, because control is stronger when it comes from trust. Emma's hand trembled over the photograph, Sophie's image blurring as tears welled. The storm roared outside, thunder rattling the windows, and Emma felt her heart fracture into shards. Sophie's laugh echoed faintly in her ear, no longer sweet, but tinged with something darker. Emma whispered, "She didn't disappear. She was silenced." Emma's chest heaved as the phone rang again, its shrill cry cutting through the storm. She answered, her voice trembling. "Who are you?" The distorted voice replied, "I am the one Sophie trusted, and the one Victoria fears." Michael leaned close, whispering, "Put it on speaker." Liam's eyes widened, his defiance now laced with fear. Daniel's calm mask didn't break, but his gaze darkened. The voice continued, "The letter holds the truth Sophie died for. Open it, and you will see the world she tried to save." Emma froze, the envelope shaking in her hand, Sophie's memory pressing like a weight against her shoulders. Thunder cracked, the room vibrating, as if the world demanded she act. Emma's voice cracked. "If Sophie trusted you, why hide in shadows?" The distorted reply came, "Because Victoria isn't alone. She has allies where justice should live." Michael slammed his fist on the table, anger breaking his calm. "Then we expose them all." Liam's hands shook as he muttered, "Unless it's already too late." Daniel's words slid like steel. "Late or not, once this starts, there's no return." Emma pressed the letter tighter, her hands trembling as Sophie's ghostly figure appeared in her mind, humming the same melody she had as a child. The storm outside reached a violent crescendo, glass rattling in its frame. Emma whispered, "Then the truth must bleed tonight." Emma tore at the envelope's seal, the crack of wax echoing like thunder. Inside, faded pages revealed Sophie's handwriting, lines that shook with urgency. Emma read aloud, her voice trembling. "If they find this, know Victoria Kane is not alone. Daniel Reed betrayed me, and he will betray you." Silence devoured the room. Michael's eyes widened in disbelief. Liam's face twisted with betrayal as he shouted, "You knew!" Daniel's calm mask broke, his jaw tightening as he replied coldly, "Sophie never understood the greater good." Emma staggered back, Sophie's memory flooding her vision, no longer a ghost but a scream. The storm outside roared, a mirror of the chaos within. The conspiracy had a name, and betrayal had a face. The room pulsed with betrayal, every breath jagged as Emma Carter staggered back from Daniel Reed. Her voice cracked. "You were with us, all this time." Michael Harris' eyes burned with fury as he snapped, "You played both sides." Daniel's gaze stayed calm, his voice low and unyielding. "I made choices for the greater good. Choices Sophie never understood." Liam Parker's fists clenched, rage trembling in his body as he shouted, "You let her die." Emma clutched Sophie's letter, her hands shaking as Sophie's memory flared like fire. Her laughter turned scream. Thunder shook the apartment. Glass rattled. And Emma whispered, "Then tonight, the truth will burn with us." The storm outside was nothing compared to the one inside. Daniel's tone cut like steel. "You think exposing Victoria will save you? She controls the system. She controls all of us." Emma's tears streaked down as she whispered, "Then Sophie died for nothing." Michael's voice thundered, "No, she died because he let her." Liam's voice cracked with rage, and now he'll answer for it. Daniel took a step closer, the storm's lightning etching lines of shadow across his face. His voice dropped lower, colder. "Truth is fragile. Shatter it, and you'll drown in the pieces." Emma's breath trembled, Sophie's memory echoing in her mind, urging her forward. Emma raised the letter higher, her voice sharp. "Then we bleed together." The room braced for war. Michael lunged forward, slamming the files onto Daniel's chest. Every lie you buried is here, he spat. Daniel's face twisted, but he did not flinch. Liam shouted, "You think you're untouchable, but Sophie left more than letters. She left proof." Emma's voice trembled, rising above the storm. "You betrayed her, Daniel. You betrayed us all." Daniel's mask broke, his calm unraveling as he roared. "I protected you from a truth that would destroy everything." Silence crashed heavy, thunder exploding outside. Sophie's ghost flickered in Emma's mind, her hand reaching out like a final plea. Emma whispered, "The truth was never yours to bury." The room brimmed with fire, ready to consume them all. Daniel shoved the files aside, his voice sharp as broken glass. "You think you've uncovered the truth, but Sophie was part of Victoria's plan." Emma gasped, her knees buckling as Sophie's image flashed in her mind, smiling beside. "Victoria, again," Michael's voice thundered. "Lies, you twist everything." Liam's voice cracked with grief and fury. "She was fighting for us, not her." Daniel's eyes narrowed, his calm gone. "She chose Victoria before she chose any of you." Emma's sob broke into a scream, the letter shaking violently in her hands. Lightning exploded outside, shadows stretched long across their faces. Sophie's memory screamed in Emma's ears, shattering the fragile walls of certainty. Emma whispered, "I don't know what to believe anymore." The storm reached its peak as Emma collapsed into Michael's arms, her voice broken. "If Sophie was part of it, then nothing is real." Michael whispered, "You are real, Emma," his young voice steadying with conviction. "Then we fight for Sophie, no matter what they say." Daniel's eyes darkened, his calm shattered into rage. "You'll destroy everything I built." Emma straightened, her voice firm through the tears. "Then it was never worth saving." Sophie's memory lingered, her ghostly face illuminated in lightning, whispering in Emma's ear like a final vow. The apartment shook with thunder, but inside, the war had already begun. Nothing would be the same. The storm finally broke into silence, leaving the apartment heavy with the scent of rain and betrayal. Emma Carter sat at the table. Sophie's letter spread open like an open wound. Michael Harris stood beside her, his steady hand on her shoulder, whispering, "We take this to the court of truth, not their corrupted halls." Liam Parker leaned against the wall, his notebook trembling in his grip as he muttered, "If Victoria controlled Sophie, then what do we have left?" Daniel Reed paced the room, his mask cracked, his voice sharp. "You think exposing me or Victoria matters? The system swallows truth whole." Emma's tears fell onto the pages, her voice breaking. "Then we make the system choke." Sophie's memory flickered, her laughter now a battle cry. Michael spread the files across the table, his voice calm but urgent. "We have enough to shatter her hold, but it will cost us," Emma whispered. "Sophie already paid the price." Liam's eyes burned, his voice trembling. "Then let it cost me too." Daniel's cold laugh cut through. "You don't understand the battlefield you're stepping into. Victoria has allies hidden in robes and gavels." Emma clenched the letter, Sophie's handwriting burning into her soul. The rain outside softened, but the quiet was suffocating. Heavy with choices, none of them could escape. Emma whispered again, this time with steel in her voice. "Then let her allies bleed, the way Sophie bled." The morning light crept through broken blinds, streaking the room with tired gold. Emma whispered, "We take this beyond them, beyond the courts." Michael's eyes met hers, steady. "Then we go public. We give the truth no cage to hide in." Liam grinned faintly, a fire sparking in his eyes. "Let's burn their empire with Sophie's voice." Daniel's face hardened, his last defense cracking. "You'll bring chaos, and chaos spares no one." Emma's tears dried. Her voice steady now, stronger than before. Sophie died to be heard, and I will not silence her again. Sophie's memory lingered, her humming soft, threading through Emma's resolve. The battle had shifted, and so had she. Michael loaded the files into a worn leather bag, his voice firm. Once this leaves here, there's no undoing it. Emma nodded, whispering, then let it begin. Liam scribbled in his sketchbook, drawing Sophie's face, muttering, "She won't vanish again." Daniel leaned on the wall, his calm returned but laced with menace. "You think you're rewriting the game, but Victoria wrote the rules." Emma's hand brushed the letter, her voice rising. "Then we break the rules." Thunder no longer echoed outside. Instead, a tense stillness filled the air. Sophie's memory smiled faintly, urging her onward, her presence sharper than ever before. Emma felt fear transform into fire. They stepped out into the morning air, the storm gone, but its scars lingering in puddles and shattered leaves. Emma clutched the letter to her chest, whispering to Sophie's memory, "Your voice will rise again." Michael's presence beside her was a steady anchor, his hand brushing hers in silent support. Liam walked ahead, his eyes sharp, carrying his sketchbook like a shield. Daniel trailed behind, his shadow long, his allegiance uncertain. Emma's breath steadied, her gaze lifting toward the horizon. The conspiracy still breathed, but so did Sophie's truth. For the first time, Emma felt the weight shift. The fight had only begun, but she would not walk it alone. The city's skyline loomed under gray clouds, its towers indifferent to the war Emma Carter carried in her chest. She whispered, "Sophie, I'm still listening." Michael Harris stood at her side, his voice calm but heavy. "The world may not want this truth, but it will hear it." Liam Parker sketched furiously, each line a rebellion etched in graphite. Daniel Reed lingered a few steps behind, his silence sharp, his shadow stretched across them like a warning. The folded letter remained pressed against Emma's chest, a relic of a voice that refused to die. Sophie's laughter returned, faint and ghostly, wrapping around Emma's ears as though the past were speaking through her. For the first time, Emma did not flinch. Michael unfolded one of Sophie's pages, holding it up to the wind as though it might scatter her truth across the city. "Let them try to silence us now," he said. Emma's eyes brimmed but did not break. Liam muttered, "Sophie's words are stronger than their walls." Daniel's gaze stayed on the horizon, unreadable, his calm masking 1,000 fractures. Emma lifted her chin, her voice trembling but steady. She was never gone. She was waiting for us to see her. Thunder rolled faintly in the distance, not from a storm but from something deeper, the weight of a system cracking. Sophie's memory lingered in the air, alive in every breath they took. The sound of sirens drifted upward, distant yet closing, proof that Victoria Kane's reach was near. Emma whispered, "She knows we have it." Michael's jaw tightened, then we're already in the war. Liam's eyes lit with defiance. "Let her come. Sophie deserves more than silence." Daniel turned slowly, his voice cutting through. "Be careful what you unleash. Some truths cannot be caged once freed." Emma's chest tightened, Sophie's ghost brushing past her like a cold wind. She closed her eyes, hearing Sophie's hum again, now louder, guiding her. "Then, let it be free," Emma said, her voice steady. The horizon glowed faintly with morning light, fragile but unyielding. The first rays of sunlight pierced the clouds, golden against the city's gray steel. Emma held Sophie's letter high, the words trembling in the morning air. Michael whispered, "This is how she lives again." Liam's sketch fell to the rooftop, Sophie's face etched in graphite, her eyes alive on the page. Daniel's calm voice dropped low. "Once this begins, there is no end, only ashes." Emma turned toward him, her eyes fierce. Ashes still carry seeds. Sophie's memory smiled faintly in her mind, not as a ghost, but as strength. The sirens grew louder. The city braced. Emma's resolve was unshakable now. The truth was no longer hidden. It was about to erupt. The city awoke beneath them, unaware of the storm, ready to break. Emma whispered, "Sophie, I carry you now." Michael's hand steadied her, his voice low. "Then carry us all." Liam lifted his head, fire in his eyes. "Let them try to erase us again." Daniel's silence lingered, unreadable but his shadow remained at their side. The sirens faded into the hum of morning, swallowed by the city's endless noise. Emma lowered the letter, her voice soft but final. "The conspiracy didn't end with Sophie. It begins with us." Sophie's memory faded into light, her hum dissolving into silence, leaving only Emma's vow echoing in the air. The city carried on, but the truth waited like a spark.